Those memories we have made don't go away. They walk beside us every day, unseen, but always near. So loved and so missed and so very, very dear.
Hello, this is Sandra Hart at Life Over 60. Did you ever think about your life and all the years that you lived, and if you could put special things that were memories for you into one bag or one tote, just exactly what would they be? Welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to see you again. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you're new to my channel, or if you watch me and if you haven't subscribed, I really would love to have you subscribe and be a part of this beautiful community that we have here. I was thinking about something the other day and I thought, wouldn't it be fun? Now, I have downsized, if all of you who followed me know, so I gave a lot of things away. I gave things to my children, all of the things that I thought each of them might like. But I did keep a few things. I went through my things today and I thought, what if I put certain things in a bag? And I just happened to have a tote here. And I thought, what if I put things that stimulate memories and mean something to me in a bag? Just exactly what would I do? So I put some things together, and I'm going to challenge you to think about what things that you would put in your bag that brings up wonderful memories for you. Now, there are some things that would, but I gave them away to my children, so I'm going to show you just exactly what I have. The first thing that I have in my bag that I have kept for probably 73 years. When I was a young girl, I lived in an industrial town, not too much going on. I belonged to the church choir, and I was a cheerleader in 6th grade. Big deal. But one thing my mother did allow me to do, and I think it cost maybe 50 cents a week, there was a woman who lived about 4 blocks away. She was a dancer in New York, and she moved back home to this little industrial town that we lived in on the Ohio River. And she gave dancing classes and dancing lessons. So this was the thrill of my life when I was able to get my own ballet slippers. Now, my mother, it cost money that we really didn't have. So what my mother did, and I took them off years ago, she made satin covers for these, and she painfully stitched all around the edge so that I would have nice, clean ballet shoes for the concerts. And there's a little story that I have to tell you. I used to sing. I loved to sing by myself, or in a choir with a lot of other people. But I was chosen to sing to the dance number in your Easter bonnet for our dance recital. And when the time came that I had to sing into the second rehearsal, I quit my dancing lessons because I was terrified to sing in front of people. Now, isn't that really a shame? And as a result of that, when I had children, I tried to encourage them to not be shy and afraid of their talents. So that is the lesson that I learned, but these are my ballet slippers that I should have had them bronzed. Remember when they used to bronze everything, baby shoes? And anyway, these are my ballet slippers that I'm sure when I am no longer here, my kids will throw them away. But when I look at them, it reminds me of my childhood in that industrial town on the Ohio River Valley. All right, let's look into my bag and see what else I have here. Oh, okay. A lot of my things have to do with jewelry. Okay, let me see. I have a couple of bags in here. When I was 13, I had rheumatic fever, and I was in bed for about 4 months, and it was a very, very hard time for me. And one thing that was so wonderful, one day, my father, who worked very hard in this town, came home, and he brought me this. I don't know whether you can see it. My birthday is in January, and this is a garnet, and he brought me this garnet ring. It was the first ring that I'd ever had or been given in my entire life. I was 12 years old, and my father gave me this garnet ring, and it's amazing. It still fits me today. So this really means something to me, to have this beautiful garnet ring that my father probably worked so hard and saved to give to me. And another thing, when I was in college and when I went to college, I belonged to a sorority, which was Tri Delta, 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 Delta. But I've attached that to something that I inherited from my mother. And this is a beautiful little locket that opened up. My mother had typhoid fever, and used to get typhoid fever from something bad water or bad milk. And she lived on a farm. But this little locket is what I inherited from my mother, and she must have gotten it when she was about 7 or 8 years old. And this is the symbol of my sorority, and I kind of put those two things together. So both of these mean an awful lot to me in memories, and I usually wear this every day, but I just don't happen to have it on today. So that's something that I put in my bag that really means a lot to me. And also, something that means a lot to me is my mother's high school ring. She gave that to me when I was about 18 years old, I think. So that is her high school ring, and it really doesn't fit me. She must have had really tiny fingers when she was 17. Anyway, that's her high school ring, and I've kept that because it reminds me of my mother. And what a beautiful woman that she was. I went on, of course, as you know, I grew up, and I went on in my life, and my first really important job that I had was on, and if you follow me enough, you know that I was a romper room teacher. I was trained by Nancy and Sally Claster, who were married to Bert Claster, who was the creator and syndicator of Romper Room. And when I was on Romper Room, and when I ended my tenure, when I moved on to being an anchor person, this is what they gave me. They gave me a beautiful gold bee with little diamonds on the wings. And that means so much to me because I love that job. And actually, Romper Room started me on a television career that lasted 4 decades. So I'm very grateful, and I've kept this in my jewelry box, my Romper Room bee. See, I'm starting to get emotional. Oh my gosh. Amazing when you think about your life and you bring up memories, it also creates a lot of senses and emotions in us, doesn't it? Okay, please don't cry. All right, so I moved on, and let me see. Oh, okay. I moved on and had a beautiful home with my late husband. in New Jersey. It was right on the shore. My whole life, I've always, for some reason, loved the water, even though I never lived on the water until I was 32, and that's when we moved to New Jersey. And I was just in heaven. For 44 years, I lived on the New Jersey shore and raised my children. But I have so much of the sea inside of me. Don't ask me why, but I was just born loving the sea, and so was my brother. I have a whole dish downstairs of shells that I have collected, and my children and I would walk along the Jersey shore, and we would collect shells and sea glass. So these two things remind me of my wonderful life on the New Jersey shore. And they say that, even though I wasn't born there, they say that once you have lived in New Jersey, you always have a piece of your heart that you leave back there. And I think that is so true. I know that Brett, my oldest daughter, and even Allison, even though, one lives in Chicago, the other has a beautiful horse farm in Kentucky, in a heartbeat, I think, if they had no responsibilities, they would move back to the New Jersey shore. But anyway, so those are my New Jersey memories. And of course, while I was there, I was raising my children, and I have some of my pictures in boxes, the pictures that I thought, of course, that meant something to my children I sent. So I'm just going to show you because it's small and I can fit it into my bag. This picture represents my 3 children and my 5 grandchildren. The best job I have ever had in my life was raising my children. It was absolutely wonderful. I was never around children until I was on Romper Room. And sometimes I wasn't really crazy about other people's children because some of them really misbehaved even on the show. But once they put that first little baby into my arms, was forever captive of children, especially my children. So I love my children, and they are such an important part of my life, and I will always keep them in my bag. Okay, that is that, and take out my shell. What else do I have in here? Oh, yes. When I met Arthur and we married, he opened up a new world to me because being a merchant marine who had traveled all over the world, he had such a lust for travel. But until he got married, he didn't want to travel alone. He went to Switzerland skiing and things like that, but he never really did extensive traveling till I came into his life. And Arthur and I have taken 4 world cruises that have lasted 3 to 4 months. So we have been at sea for a total of 1 year plus other cruises, short cruises that we have done. And this is a statue that I got on Jeju Island. These statues are all over in Jeju. And so while I was there, and it's made of lava rock, I got one of those things and I brought him home to remind me of my travels, my world travels. So there he is, just has a pretty little face. But I keep him in my big container of shells downstairs in the living room. And when my children were grown up and achieving things on their own, one of the greatest joys of my life, other than having grandchildren, but this came before grandchildren, my son moved to LA and on his own became a rock star. And this is his very first album, and this is a CD, and it will be backwards because I film on my iPhone using the back camera, so it will be backwards. So this is, here is what is, this is a copy of, he sent to me after this went multi-platinum, he sent me a big framed gold record, and he sent me a big framed platinum record in honor of me with my name on it. But the first big hit off of this album, and some of you know this if you've watched me, If You Could Only See the Way She Loves Me, it's a song he wrote to me before he became famous about a girl that he met in Los Angeles. So out of his angst came the #1 hit song of the year. He won the Billboard Award and a lot of awards for that song. And since then has been nominated for Grammys and has written for movies and so forth. So I'm very proud. But this is a big event in our whole family's life. And I've saved the best for last. My faith has gotten me through so many ups and downs in my life. Whenever I've been really down and I felt like I couldn't go any further, I knew I always had someone sitting right here. And again, it's backwards. But my faith has been so important to me. And this book has given me many hours of joy, inspiration, and solitude. Now, no matter what religion you are, if you don't have a faith, I think faith is such a personal thing, and I'm just sharing with you my personal faith. But I know a lot of you have other faiths and other beliefs, but if it guides you and keeps you morally straight and gives you comfort, then that's what is necessary. But anyway, those are the things in my basket or in my tote. All of the few things that I could fit in here. Is there anything else in here? I don't know. No, I don't. I think that's it. So those are the things that I have here in my hometown in Miami that I would think represent all of the joys and the highlights in my life. Just exactly what would be in your bag. I would like to know. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and you can hear the dogs downstairs barking. They're also a part of my life, but I couldn't put them in my bag. Thank you again for being here. I really love having each and every one of you, and don't forget, please, be kind to yourself today. Don't be so hard on yourself. Forgive yourself for those things that you may have done that you're not too proud of. And be kind to others who cross your path each and every day. Even just a smile helps. And of course, let's all share the love. Thank you again, and I hope to see you in my next video.